Hello everyone and welcome back, and this is Veteran Mountain Man. I have got an interesting concept for you. So, I was having a debate on Minds earlier this week, and a gentleman popped up with this analogy. He said that free speech is like scissors. We should not allow people to use it without the proper education. Now, I don't know about you, but I think he is probably insane at this point. We had quite an in-depth discussion, and it turned to the point where he started using some really horrible rhetoric. And we're not going to discuss that because, hey, it's the internet. People are really rude on the internet. But I do want to discuss this concept that free speech needs education to use. Now, basically what he's saying is that people need to be taught how to exercise their free speech. And that means that they have to be taught the right way. And that means that somebody has to then determine that they have learned correctly to then be allowed to use their free speech. Which means that free speech is not innate. Free speech is given. Let that sink in. This gentleman believes that somebody gives you the right to free speech. That it can then also be taken away if you're not exercising it correctly. Now, for many of my long-term listeners, you're going to know I'm going to tell him to take a flying leap. I mean, I cannot believe this guy even tried to make this assertion when discussing with me. It's not exactly like I hide my concepts on liberties, rights, and freedoms in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I mean, I pretty much wear that concept on my sleeve like a giant badge of honor and a chip on my shoulder waiting for somebody to knock it off to say it's false, and then I have to prove them wrong. So, for those of you who are relatively new, let's go over this fairly simplistically. Free speech is innate. You have free speech whether anybody likes it or not. The concept of free speech is the right to say exactly what you want to say without directly inciting violence. Now, that being said, there are some limitations. Actually threatening someone, I'm going to kill you, can be considered not free speech if you're actually being serious. Walking into a crowded theater and shouting something like fire or in Arabic, God is great, which will incite a riot and panic for the exits, is not a good thing either and is not free speech. Discussing ideas, topics, and theories that are unpopular is free speech. Discussing something that makes you feel uncomfortable or violates your emotional safety is still free speech. These ideas of hate speech are not actually hate speech. Even the Ku Klux Klan, which is repugnant in all its forms, has the right to say what they want to say as long as they're not inciting violence. Now, that being said, I'm going to refute them wholeheartedly over and over and over again until everybody knows their ideas are horrible. That also is free speech. See, free speech only exists if it's nurtured by free speech for everyone. And anyone telling you that you need proper training to use your free speech is honestly not very bright or is trying to control you. Anyone can learn to speak freely on their own. You don't necessarily need training. Now, to win a debate or an argument, you do need training. You will need to learn rhetoric. And you'll need to understand the logos methodology of discussion so that you can use logic in your thoughts and in your expressions and in your theories to express concepts and ideas. But that doesn't mean you need some sort of specialty training to use your free speech. You still have the right to say what you want to say. Even if you don't understand rhetoric, and you won't ever win a debate, you still have the right to say what you want to say. But if you want to be good at what you're saying, you do need some training. But that doesn't mean that you can't just do it. And some people are naturally eloquent and naturally good at free speech and don't need a whole lot of training to refine their technique. Because different people have different talents. Because nobody is a blank slate. Well, thank you all again for joining me. I know I've been doing a lot of Free Speech Fridays lately, and I don't want to take over from Lars Larson because he does his First Amendment Friday thing every Friday. So next Friday, I'm going to definitely try to find another topic to come up with because I don't want to be stepping on his toes or getting a cease and desist order from 101 FM, which is just down the street from me. Thank you all again for joining me. Remember to upvote and follow if you're on VidMe, or like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe on minds.com as well. If you're on one of those and subscribed or following me, but you're on the others as well and not, please feel free to do it again on those other sites so that I have a better understanding and can better communicate with you. Thank you all again for joining me, and have a great Friday.